Morning, Cristo here on Talk TV. Now, let's talk about a story about an industry that, frankly, I hate, but because they're all awful. You never find one that's any good, and that is, of course, your bank. And this is a story that we were going to talk about yesterday, but we didn't get time. And it's the story about your bank logging your carbon footprint. NatWest are giving customers the option via their app to have their carbon footprint tracked when it comes to aspects of their spending in order to inform you how unenvironmentally friendly you are being. Paul Britton, leading criminal defence lawyer. What do you think of that story?
Well, from your journalistic, neutral
I'm not giving my opinion yet.
I
say
can
that all banks are terrible.
Of the fence you're going to be on, so I'll probably take the opposite. I think it's great. I think it's an excellent idea.
No, you don't.
I think it's a great idea. I think anything that the banks or businesses can do to help promote people, members of the public, reducing their carbon footprint is an excellent idea.
Because it will make a huge difference if us with our 1% emissions
all these little
do that.
things make a difference.
Oh, what a load of old nonsense.
And it's when they all come together will help us get to our carbon neutral target.
Why don't you wear orange and stick yourself to something?
I read some of the story this morning and I thought, mending clothes when they become tattered, if there's a hole in them, I thought that's a very good idea rather than to go and buy new clothes that have probably been shipped here from a faraway land that have been
I'm not a moron
produced.
But I know that
But it's nice to be reminded sometimes. And not everybody is as enlightened and educated and carbon friendly as you are. So this is going to help millions of NatWest customers.
3-litre BMW.
Yeah, your 3-litre. And I drive an electric one.
It's a 2-litre BMW.
And I drive an electric one.
So I drive a petrol one. I specifically went to buy a petrol one.
I'm much further down the carbon journey than you are.
Yeah, you're much further down the rabbit hole than I am, whereas I just think all of this is absolute... Look, I don't believe that it's bad to be environmentally friendly, but unfortunately, the narrative around being environmentally friendly has made me want to push against it all now. Because it's gone from sensible conversation and suggestion about such things, which I'm absolutely in favour of, to regressive taxes, an absolute excuse to fleece the public for money. And
well, they're different issues. So the banking app. So taxation is a different issue to a banking app that helps you make very informed decisions on your spending habits, and I think you can opt in or out of it.
It's a carbon footprint
monitor
tracker,
and
it uses the bank's mobile app for transaction data of their customers, and then it can make suggestions to you about how to reduce your carbon footprint based on your shopping habits. So it can tell you to I don't know, when you go to buy clothing, again, it's to fix it instead, and make sure that you drink plant-based alternatives to dairy milk, share car journeys, wash clothes in cold water, turn off tumble dryers.
The dairy milk thing, it's I have milk dairy in my tea, and it annoys me a little bit when I'm asked what milk I want. I don't know how many variations of cow there are, but I just want normal milk, but it's become almost weird that when you ask for dairy milk. In fact, in our office in Hove, there's 40 employees, and they don't need milk anymore. There's like 2 or 3 of them that drink dairy milk, and what we're having to buy in is the oat milk, the soya milk.
Yeah, great. I love oat milk,
but it's a young team. It's a much younger team. You like oat milk?
Well, I haven't. If it's a cup of tea, I have proper milk.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that beats
proper milk. See, that's what you and I would say, but the youngsters are like, well.
But in a latte, I have oat milk. And when I make an latte, because I like the taste.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that.
I've got an autoimmune condition, which means that gluten and dairy they're all right, but I just should avoid them, really.
Okay.
I don't always, but I should. So I sort of limit it, but I'm not militant about it. If someone gives me a cup of tea with milk in it, or a bit of cheese, or a bit of cheese, something like that. I eat cheese. I mean, cheese you just can't not eat. So I'm not militant about it, but it's recommended that I don't.
I mean, if we didn't milk the cows, I mean, how many would there be? I mean, the only reason we have so many cows is because we need them.
Well, I think that the way in which you make changes when it comes to these things is that you have, informed conversations about it. You give people the information,
but it starts younger. Like telling us is like trying to break through a brick wall. But if they start in schools, if they just stop using milk in schools, cow's milk, dairy, then the kids will grow up not drinking it and not having it, and within 20 years you'd have fixed the problem.
But
we'll be old and dead. And
why is it the job of your bank to suggest that you don't have milk in your tea?
I think it's an opt-in, opt-out, and I read the article, so you don't have to have it.
Well, for now,
and why not? It's
because it's nothing to do with your bank. I don't want my bank telling me this. And the thing is, it won't.
But some people are going to find it very helpful. I would find it very helpful.
And also,
little tips.
Okay,
Cristo, I would find it very helpful.
Well, then I'll put you in that
Britton
category.
Stop drinking dairy milk.
Yeah, Paul Britton.
But I would just click OK.
Stupid person. But I would argue as well. Okay, I go and buy. I don't eat meat from the supermarket. I go and buy it from the butchers. Now that means sometimes I eat a bit less meat, but because it's more expensive. But I don't eat supermarket meat.
Why?
Right? Because
do you think that the butcher has a smaller carbon footprint?
No, it's nothing to do with carbon footprint. It's to do with animal welfare. I believe that the butcher, that the animals are probably they're not going to be factory killed, I would imagine, at the butchers. In fact, I know that they're not. You can tell by the taste that they're not. You can tell by the taste of the chicken that it is a much happier chicken.
I mean, cornfed chicken is delicious, but you could buy that in the supermarket.
Yeah, but I don't. But it's still, the supermarket ones are pumped full of all sorts of nonsense. These are. You can tell by the taste immediately when you go to the butcher that the meat is better. It's taste, but it's also the welfare of the animals, because they will come from smaller farms. I asked the butcher, where did this come from? They could trace the chicken back to the farm it came from. It's all of that sort of stuff.
But animals in this country, on the whole, are treated very well anyway.
Factory farming is pretty grim. Slaughterhouses are pretty grim, like the industrial production. Look, you know what? I get it. Some people will do that. I'm not going to tell people that they're horrifically wrong, but it's my choice that I'll go.
And we've also got a cost of living crisis, so buying cheaper meat is...
Yeah, or buying...
Is there such thing as cheaper meat these days? Everything seems to be...
Well, I'm a fan of buying a bit less meat and buying it from a better place. And then, I do a lot of what one used to do years ago. So we'll buy a chicken, and we'll live on it for a couple of days, then I'll boil the carcass, and then I'll use some breast and some thighs, and I'll make a soup out of it. And, that's
good. That's a good skill to have.
So...
Home economics.
Which
they've got rid of.
Absolutely delicious chicken soup. But the point I'm making is, and I will get there, that... I don't want my bank. Imagine my banking app, so I have my sort of fortnightly, every 3 weeks, go to the butcher and do my shop. What's the app going to say to me? Why are you shopping at the butcher's again? You're eating a bit too much meat this month.
Why are you driving in your BMW?
Why have you driven in your BMW to the butcher's? And why are you buying?
And you put £100 worth of fuel in.
And what does
that journey?
And what does that do for the butcher?
You can switch it off, Cristo.
But what does that do for the butcher?
Have you opted out? Have you left it on?
I don't think I've opted in. But the point is, it's the principle. This isn't about this is the principle
of being watched or being told what to do.
And of your bank telling you what to do with your spending. But all I want my bank to do is to help me spend my money wherever I want to spend it. It's like when you go into the bank to withdraw cash, and they say to you, "Well, what is it for?" It's nothing to do with you.
They're not telling you what to do. They're giving you helpful tips.
I don't want them. It's nothing to do with them.
We'll switch banks.
Like, it's nothing.
You go to Metro, I'm sure they don't do it.
But the thing is, this is the direction of travel. This isn't about...
They're all going to jump on this.
They're all going to jump on this, and then it'll end up being something... It'll end up being... I'll tell you what this is going to become. This is going to become... I'm going to make a bank transfer, and I'm going to have to tick a box telling them, have you thought about your carbon footprint? Have you thought about where you're spending this money? You know what you have to do with this money? You know when you do with the scam advice?
When you get the bank details. Where did you get the bank details? In person?
You know when you try and pay someone and they say, is it for product and service? Has someone told you to withdraw the money?
That really does wind me
Really is annoying.
You're really... You're touching a nerve now. So, I spend too much time on the phone to my bank pushing through transactions, so that's...
and that's going to be the next thing.
That's a subject sensitive to my heart.
anything, the next thing, when they call you about your transactions, which are going to annoy you, one of the next questions that's going to be added to that list is going to be, and have you considered the carbon footprint of where the money's going?
You just say yes, tick, and you're done.
No, it's nothing to do with them.
You sound like you're really put out by it.
I am put out by it because it's about the direction of travel, and it's about them interfering in my life.
NatWest have already got a problem, haven't they, because of the whole Farage and the Coots and people in the public eye and whether they're reputational risks. So NatWest are already struggling. So you should leave and take your followers with you.
Well, I haven't said whether I'm with NatWest or not. But if
are you with NatWest or not?
I'm not going to reveal that. But if I were, I would find this very anger-inducing. Like you get it if you've got this thing turned on, right?
Are you reading this now?
Yeah, it says, well, I've got it on the news story.
You're cheating.
It says, if you spend £15 on a dress at a high street shop, that could equate to a footprint of 16 kilograms of CO2. I mean, literally, the high street.
I mean, what sort of dress is only £15 anyway? I'm like, where are they shopping? But
I love the thing that's the thing you find most offensive is that someone's buying a dress for £15.
Like, where has it come from?
No, but I'm afraid.
I think the needle and the thread at the haberdashery in John Lewis or wherever they are these days, or Liberty, would be probably 15 quid.
Yes,
so,
but also we've got a crisis on the high street, and your bank, which is supposed to facilitate high streets doing better, are going to have a go at you for spending money in your shop.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. You know,
well, I think what's coming out of this is that there may be a potential for the banks. Well, there probably definitely is actually, because it's collecting data, and data is quite powerful, to abuse their position, and if the optional aspect was to disappear, that would be a problem. But you know, as that last text message said, they can opt in and out, and she said she's opted in. So
no, you're automatically opted in. She says.
Okay, well, so what? Just opt out.
No,
you're going to give your fingers a little bit of an exercise to opt out.
This
tick the box.
Is the start of the ruination of society.
You're not.
This
is going to ruin society.
This is where it starts, and then soon, what's going to happen? Then soon, what will happen is.
Oh, here we go.
No,
I feel like I'm on an American show now.
No. This is what's going to happen. I'm telling you now. Soon, you're going to end up in a situation, if banks are doing this, where I'm going to go and take a loan. Oh, let's have a look. They'll do a nicer.
Oh no, you're too.
And they'll say, look, your carbon footprint's a bit high when it comes to your spending. I'm afraid we're going to have to give you a higher interest rate than the person next to you who sat there in his borrowed clothes.
Cristo, if that ever happens, you'll sit there and you're going to say, I told you
He's
so.
He's probably going to be in a borrowed dress because he'll be gender non-binary
theories.
And he'll have bought that borrowed dress from a charity shop for £15. He'll have sewing all over it where he's mended it continually.
And he'll get a good interest rate.
And he'll get a brilliant interest rate.
Reward.
Whereas what I will get will be the high interest rate, because they'll be like, oh, look how much you spent at BP on petrol over the last 12 months. No, that's a black mark against you.
You're 15%.
Oh, and look at your butcher. Well, you're spending a lot of money on meat.
You're very biased because you're going to suffer on that theory because of your car, whereas me, I'm going to get good interest rates.
Yeah,
I've
but
got my electric car. I'm going to get a solar array at my house.
Do you eat meat?
Yes.
Do you
from the supermarket?
You have do you have?
Everybody comes together into one building to buy their, rather than having little butchers.
Well, see, I still like going to my local shops. I've got my butchers. I go to my local grocers where I buy my
all
food
producing carbon emissions.
But also it's better quality, and I like going to the local shops. I go to the supermarket.
You can buy better quality meat in the supermarket. It's more expensive.
Yeah, but I don't. It's still not as good as at the butchers. It's still mass produced. I buy meat at the supermarket to feed my dogs.
Okay.
So they have meat from the supermarket, and I do go to the supermarket. I buy stuff from the supermarket, but when it comes to fruit and veg, not always fruit and veg, because sometimes you have to go to the supermarket, but apples, I always buy apples from the grocer because I like a proper apple. The apples in the supermarket are sort of this big.
But
I could swallow one in whole.
How far do you have to go to your butchers?
Well, they're all on a local, so
So you walk there?
Oh no, I drive there. But I drive to the supermarket, so I do it all in one trip.
How near is it? Well, the supermarket could deliver and do deliveries all
and then I
the
can't
way.
pick the products. I don't want to deliver it from the supermarket. I don't want to deliver it from the supermarket. I want to go and pick the products. I want to look at the use-by dates. I want to look if I'm getting fruit and veg. I want to look that it's okay.
And how often are you going to the butchers?
probably once every couple of weeks at most.
So you're keeping
and
the
it's all on a
trends
little row of shops.
Yeah.
So there's the butcher there. A couple of doors up is the grocers. There's also...
but these little changes that we make to
the
our
deli
habits,
is there as well.
The little changes that we make en masse, because there's a lot of people in this country, do help reduce
if I was
the country's overall carbon footprint.
If I was sitting in China at the moment and I heard you saying that, I would fall on the floor laughing.
Okay, well, listen, that brings us to protests in this country, like, this Stop Oil or whatever it's called, and they're just protesting in the wrong country. Why don't they go to China or go to Russia or go to the States
to say as well
and protest there and bring their capital cities to us?
Well, there you go. So you've answered yourself.
I have to say the protests in this country are ridiculous.
You've answered yourself.
Every issue they want to run London to a standstill all weekend. It's just mad.
But
that really winds me up.
There is nothing that we could do in this country that would be enough. Nothing
to please them.
That would offset what China are doing.
No, that's right.
So what? So why have you got your electric car?
Well, one, it's quite cheap to run. It's very nice. It's high tech. I was on the motorway the other day and it said speed limit reduced to 50 miles an hour to reduce emissions. I thought, does that not apply to me because I'm not producing any emissions?
No, because you are. Because now, once everyone's gone and bought their electric cars, the nut jobs are all saying, well, actually, sorry, you've got your tyre particulate matter, which is quite bad and polluting. You've got the carbon.
Oh, they just move on to the next thing.
And also, your car is heavier than a normal car because it's got the battery in it. So therefore, you are actually causing more pollution. So therefore, actually, you buying your electric car...
I put it in the eco mode every time I get in it.
Doesn't matter because they've got,
I'm above the community according to the app.
You see where it starts. They say to you, just move to an electric car, you'll be great. And then you get the electric car and they move on to the next thing. This app will be the start of the ruination of society. And when we come back, we'll talk about the ruination of
society.
Why Cambridge students are so upset. We might have a word as well about whether the legalities around these protests that the Home Secretary wants to ban on Armistice Day. So that's all coming up next here on TalkTV.